I was raised on a farm with my grandmother for the first 6 years of my life. I knew somehow that my life would be different and it would be better. I never had a clear-cut vision of what it was I would be doing. I just always felt somehow. I remember absolutely physically feeling it at around 4 years old. I remember standing on the back porch. It was a screened-in porch, and my grandmother was boiling clothes because, you know, at that time we didn't have washing machines, and so people would, you know, physically boil clothes in a great big iron pot, and she was boiling clothes and poking them down. And I was watching her from the back porch, and I was 4 years old, and I remember thinking, my life won't be like this. My life won't be like this, it will be better. And it wasn't from a place of arrogance, it was just a place of knowing that things could be different for me somehow. I don't know what made me think that. I always wanted to be an actress for most of my adolescent and adult life. My father didn't want me to be, because his idea of what an actress was one of these, you know, lewd women, and how are you going to take care of your life? So I always wanted to be an actress, and have taken, I think, a roundabout way to get there, because I still don't feel fulfilled as an actress. I still feel like, okay, once I'm now, I own my own studio and all this, but I'm thinking, I did all of this just to be an actress. I was taught to read at an early age, and by the time I was 3, I was reciting speeches in the church, and they put me up on the program, and they'd say, and little Mistress Winfrey will render a recitation, and I would do, Jesus rose on Easter Day, hallelujah, hallelujah, all the angels did proclaim, and all the sisters sitting in the front row would fan themselves and turn to my grandmother and say, Hadame, this child is gifted. And I heard that enough that I started to believe it. Maybe I am. I didn't even know what gifted meant, but I just thought it meant I was special. And so anytime people came over, I'd recite Bible verses and poetry. By the time I was 7, I was doing Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there be for my unconquerable soul. And at the time, I was saying, I didn't know what I was talking about, but I'd do all the motions, out of the night that covers me. And people say, ooh, that child can speak. And so that's, you know, whatever you do a lot of, you get good at doing it. And that's just about how this whole broadcasting career started. What I know is that if you do work that you love and work that fulfills you, the rest will come. And that I truly believe that the reason I've been able to be so financially successful is because my focus has never, ever for 1 minute been money. And the fact that the money has come has really surprised me. I've been just really surprised and delighted and very pleased and many times overwhelmed by it. But the money has never been the focus. The reason, you know, I think if you're on the road to success is if you would do your job and not be paid for it. And I would do this job and take on a second job to make ends meet if nobody paid me, just for the opportunity to do it.
If you can capture the humanity of people, if you can just capture the humanity of the people, of the stories that you're telling, you then get that much closer to your own humanity. And you can confront your bias, and you can build your credibility and hone your instincts and compound your compassion. You can use your gifts, that's what you're really here to do, to illuminate the darkness in our world. So this is what I also know, that this moment in time, this is your time to rise. It is. Even though you can't go anywhere. You can't stand in line at Starbucks. You can't go to a party. You can't go to any place without, everywhere you turn, people are talking about how bad things are, how terrible it is. And this is what I know. The problem is everybody is meeting hysteria with more hysteria. And then we just are all becoming hysterical. And it's getting worse. What I've learned all these years is that we're not supposed to match it or even get locked into resisting or pushing against it. We're supposed to see this moment in time for what it is. We're supposed to see through it and then transcend it. That is how you overcome hysteria. And that is how you overcome the sniping at one another, the trolling, the mean-spirited partisanship on both sides of the aisle, the divisiveness, the injustices, and the out-and-out hatred. You use it. Use this moment to encourage you, to embolden you, and to literally push you into the rising of your life. And to borrow a phrase from my beloved mentor, Maya Angelou, just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like the hope springing high, you will rise. So your job now, let me tell you, is to take everything you've learned here and use what you've learned to challenge the left, to challenge the right, and the center. When you see something, you say something, and you say it with the facts and the reporting to back it up. Here's what you have to do. You make the choice every day, every single day, to exemplify honesty, because the truth, let me tell you something about the truth. The truth exonerates and it convicts. It disinfects and it galvanizes. The truth has always been and will always be our shield against corruption, our shield against greed and despair. The truth is our saving grace. And not only are you here, USC Annenberg, to tell it, to write it, to proclaim it, to speak it, but to be it. Be the truth. Be